Welcome back, Paul, Catalina, and Garrett Ross. And today we had one topic, which is Deion Sanders and his future at Colorado or potentially with the Cowboys. And today, Emory, we're brought to you by NordVPN, correct? Click the link in the description that Emory will put there. Look, if you need internet protection, private browsing is important. VPN. Emory, do you use VPNs? He doesn't want to admit to it because he knows we all know what he's used them for. But yes, I mean, sometimes you need, privacy in your business operation. So that's why you use a VPN. And I know some of you out there be like, what's a VPN? And I'd be like, if you don't know, I'm not going to tell you. Just check out NordVPN and use it if you need a VPN. But Garrett, I talked about the Cowboys' perspective on this. I do want to talk about, before we go, the Colorado perspective on it, which to me is very interesting because when you are hiring coaches at this time, after recruiting, after the portal, before spring, which is, this is another reason, all that calendar is about to change. Yeah. And it probably will change when it gets collectively bargained because the coaches at the convention, they want the transfer window between January 2nd and January 12th, which is only 10 days, which can be fine. You can make your decision during any amount of time and then transfer during that time and enter the portal, and that gives them maybe more time. But if they got rid of spring football, if they collectively bargain and just figure all this out, it'll be fine. Yep. But they're going to keep moving the transfer window before they collectively bargain until, courts again make them do it. But so if Colorado is without a head coach, that there could be some options, who comes to if Deion goes to the NFL, if he goes to the Cowboys, right, who goes with him, who stays? My thought is he'd probably have more NFL, some of them would come, some of them wouldn't, but NFL guys would kind of come with them. The Cowboys only give so much freedom when it comes to staffing. Mike McCarthy finally got to be his own offensive coordinator because when he got the job, they're like, Kellen Moore's your offensive coordinator. Right. Just like Wade Phillips, when he got the job, they're like, Jason Garrett's the offensive coordinator. And then Jason Garrett was the offensive coordinator, the head coach, and then they said, you got to go hire somebody, and he hired Scott Linehan. So I don't know how much freedom he'd have in that. And look, Mike Zimmer was with him at Jack State, so that could be a reason that Mike Zimmer stays, which I think a lot of fans would be happy with because he did a pretty good job this year, given a mountain of injuries on that side of the ball. I think Deron Bland and Trayvon Diggs played a game together at cornerback. But all that being said, it would be bad. I don't know who Colorado would get and what they would do.
I would need to see what.
Does Eric Bieniemy, because that's his school,
at this
is
point,
that where he finally gets it?
No, at this point, I'm done on Eric Bieniemy and that whole experiment. I need to see what the realistic expectations of Colorado are, because for so long it was an afterthought. It was a program that you could not win at. Deion has gone in and changed that, but that's just the prime factor. You can win there if you get the right guy, but I don't know if anybody could come into Colorado and keep it at the same level where Deion has it now. I think that's going to be hard for anybody to do.
Oh, yeah.
So finding the expectations there. So whoever at this, whether it was this cycle or in the future, whoever has to come in and replace him, they're going to have their hands full. If he were to leave right now, that would be detrimental to this class because that would open up the transfer portal. You're probably going to lose Juju Lewis. Your whole roster would get rated, so that would screw them. I think they could find somebody. I think it's an intriguing job. I like that they're in the Big 12. I think that's something that garners more attention for people who traditionally kept up with Colorado or who thought that job would be something that they would be interested in. I think coming back over here plays into that, but I think you would need to go young. Maybe if Jake Spavital popped off this year, would you say, okay, I want to get him to come in. You have an offensive minded guy that knows, that's kind of familiar with that area. He's been out at Cal and recruited, knows the Big 12. I think you would have to go younger, but I would be intrigued to see who actually takes that job seriously, what it's looked like, and who would want the task of following up Deion, because
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
That's not going to be easy, man.
No, it's not. It's not. I mean, because they're the most hyped program in the country that's not a blue blood.
Exactly.
Right? They get all this attention and all that. Like, and look, they delivered this year. Heisman Trophy winner. And two of the first 3 picks in the draft will be likely from Colorado. I don't see that changing at all. Like, I think the draft's going to be Cam or Shadur 1 and 2. Like, whoever the Titans prefer.
Right.
The Browns will take the other one. And then Travis Hunter will go to the Giants at 3, because if you're the Giants and you can't get one of those guys, you might as well just go, who's the best overall player in this thing?
Right.
Let's bring Travis Hunter to the NYC and do that. Although, if there's a team that would, like,
completely ruin him,
just be like, wait. What if we don't draft Travis Hunter? To me right now, it would be the Giants. Like, the thing is, the Raiders would totally do that. Like, if he's there at 8, the Raiders would be like, gone. This is the face of our franchise for 70 years now. Travis Hunter, here you go. I'd like, no, that's done. I don't care who the GM and coach is. That's what they do, right? Mm-hmm. But the Giants, just the way that they've been drafting and doing things lately,
they don't care.
When everybody says that, like, you should take a right turn, they're just like, yeah, but, like, I heard over there at this candy store. Like, hey, you know what you should do? Like, you should draft a bunch of really good offensive linemen. Like, yeah, I hear you, but let me throw this out there. Tight end. Hey, you know what? This guy graded out really well. Yeah, I got it. But you know what? You know who we like better? This guy who just has a really, like, he eats nails. He just does. Like, okay, well, is he better than this guy? Like, no, but does that guy eat nails?
That's like that sounds like the Cowboys too.
Yeah. No, I feel like Andy Dwyer is running the Giants. But I broke my thumb on the way over here, like that. that kind of thing. But so he's got some pelts on the wall. So following that up at Colorado after, almost 20 years of complete irrelevance.
Right.
Is really hard to, like, okay, well, how do we do this? How do we match this energy? How do we keep this excitement? Eric Bieniemy's not that guy.
No.
Right? So he's just the one to be like, okay, he'll try and get it. You know that. But it's maybe now, like, over for that. So how do you go and match that? If you're Rick George, how do you take another big swing? I don't know if you can.
There's nobody out there that's on that level that can bring it.
Anywhere.
That's no. Yeah. I don't know of, like, the history of the Colorado players, like, who have interest in coaching, who are actively coaching. You see a lot of guys that are coming out now that used to be former players getting into coaching, which really goes back to what Deion was able to do. I don't know if maybe you kind of go that route because you've had success doing it once. I would honestly, I'm going for a young guy with the offensive mind. That's the only way I'm trying to replace Deion.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm going to find somebody. I'm going to find somebody who can keep my, number one quarterback recruit.
I don't think that's happening. If that job
here's the other thing. You're going to lose
gone, dude.
You're going to lose a lot of people who are there. Again, Deion has the kind of draw, not for all prospects yet, but for a lot of. Mm-hmm. Well, I'd like to go play for Deion Sanders right now.
Especially there's a lot of recruits whose dads were growing up when Deion was the shit. Like, they want to send their son to play for Deion.
Absolutely. So you're not going to have Nick say, like, the only other coach who had that recently, like, Kirby Smart's a great coach. Mm-hmm. Sark, all these guys, right? Like, all the guys at the elite, nobody's going to play for them just for the chance to play for them.
No.
Like, the university's kind of faceless in that regard. Now, Alabama, they're the Vatican of college football. I mean, they've had, of the top 5 greatest coaches of all time, they've got 1 and 2.
Yep.
They're 1 and 2 on the list when it comes to championships and all of that. So that has a little bit to do with it, like going to Alabama. But you saw in the way that this portal worked that I don't care, like, if it's – because it's not about money. Alabama has the money. Like, they'd have the money to keep guys for Kalen DeBoer. But guys know that they can get that same money somewhere else, and they were going there to play for Nick Saban, not Kalen DeBoer.
That's
the thing. It's
no
knock on Kalen. It's not a knock on Kalen DeBoer. It's a knock on every single coach who isn't Nick Saban.
Yeah.
So Deion has a little bit of that right now. Not nearly as much, but that roster for sure is there to play for him. And without him, Colorado's just another place.
Right.
And I'm not knocking Colorado as an institution. It's just that's what it was for a long time until they – and here's why I admire Rick George. Guess what he did? Took a big damn swing, didn't he?
Yep.
He took a big swing, and it looks like it's working out for them. All right. This is a team 9-3 this year in the regular season. Of course, they lost to BYU in the bowl game, and that like bowl games now it's a little bit different. But like that was a Big 12 game.
Well, that
That's
one was
a game
different because you had you didn't have people sitting out.
No, you didn't have people sitting out, and BYU rightfully felt a little snub from the playoffs. So I think they had like whatever that little extra mustard that they needed on it, they had it, and it wasn't Colorado didn't want to be there.
No, I think it was
they
Colorado
weren't in a bowl
was
game
distracted.
forever. They plenty wanted to be there, but BYU had something to prove that day.
Think about the distractions you had around Colorado, right? Yeah. Like you had the Heisman, you had the draft. There was so much to that, like where BYU was sitting down in bunker mentality. They've been that all year long. Like that was setting up for them to just come out and be themselves. Whereas Colorado, I mean, they wanted to be there, obviously. But at the same time, like they had other things going on, like outside of just focusing in on that game.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So anyway, all that being said, the best one I've heard, like I've heard someone say Neil Brown.
Hell no.
Andrew Baker in the chat today, Garrett.
What's
He
up,
says
Andrew?
hello. And he says, let's have more bidet talk, which I know would be right up his alley.
Yes.
Right up his alley. If I did a whole show just on bidets, Andrew would be like, this is the best one you've ever done. You won't top it. You won't top it. But Kyle Visser says, I'm going to hire Rashad Samples. And you know what?
Somebody's going to eventually.
Somebody's going to, again, not been a head coach, and that's kind of a jump from what he's doing. But my guy can probably handle it, I think. So you're going to need somebody who doesn't care they're stepping into Deion's shadow. Even though it's only been there a couple years. That's going to be a hard thing.
A guy like – and this really is kind of set back because they didn't have success this year. But if Texas State would have been able to put together another really solid season, you could make a case for G.J. Kinney.
Yeah.
It's hard to think of other people like Lane. Really, he hasn't proven he can win anywhere.
But he's not going to lose. He's not going to leave a SEC school to go to the Big 12. I mean, like
that's not going to work.
It's a financial, step down as far as your budget.
Could you get John? Maybe you could make a run at like John Summerall, which I'm hoping that LSU has a disaster and goes after him personally. That's kind of what I'm hoping. But, he might be an intriguing guy.
I think that's what he's betting on too.
I kind of hope so.
I don't know. I've been told to let my previous, I want this guy to be a head coach everywhere he goes. I'm not even going to say his name.
I think the college coaches have said that as well.
The administration, they don't want him. That's fine. Look, they're not in charge, or I'm not in charge, and they are. No, I mean, like it's a hard thing to think. I think that would be the biggest thing. And all this to say, we spent 42 minutes talking about this now, and we're wrapping it up now. It's probably not going to happen.
I don't think it is.
It's probably not going to happen. Jerry is not like, as much as he loves the marketing and everything, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen.
I don't think it benefits Deion in any ways to do it.
Oh, I do. I mean, but again, here's why I like it. If Deion goes to the Cowboys, he has so many haters out there, just like the Cowboys. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing that'll make him happier than you don't think I can win a Super Bowl with Jerry Jones and the way things are on here? I'm Deion freaking Sanders, buddy. I hit a home run and scored a touchdown in the same weekend. All right? Like, I did, there's a whole 30 for 30 about how I played in a football game and a baseball game in the same damn day. And it enraged the baseball managers and the broadcaster. Tim McCarver was so mad about it.
You're so jealous.
I remember, did you watch that? Have you seen that one? Deion's double play?
Yeah.
Oh, my God, I loved it. And McCarver, who I never liked as a broadcaster, maybe because I was always a fan of Deion, and I was like, hey, get off this guy's ass. Mm-hmm. Like, why are you busting his balls all the time? Like, he's just a great athlete with bravado. Like, what does it matter to you?
Oh, there's a whole lot of people that don't like that.
I know. Well, like, that's all it, like, here's the thing. Nothing Deion Sanders has ever done will affect you in your life.
No.
Ever. And I've seen enough from growing up in his hometown, going to his university, and then covering him every day to tell you that he's like a superhero in a lot of regards, and that there's a duality to his personality that a lot of us just don't understand because we don't have to be that way.
Right.
And that's what makes him intriguing, is there's the part that we see and there's the part that we don't. And the part that we don't is way deeper than the part that we see.
Right.
And so I like it. I would like it for the fact that nobody thinks Jerry's ever going to win again. Nobody thinks it's a good idea. Nobody thought it was a good idea that Colorado hired him. You know, like, I say nobody, but like a lot of people, like there were more naysayers than there were not, right? So he's been really good in this short time saying, oh, you don't think I can do this? Okay, I can do this. Oh, you're worried like, oh, I'm going to take I can't have the job at my alma mater. All right, well, here's what I'm going to do.
Rob their best player.
I'm going to take their best player out of the class and set off a chain of events that eventually is going to make them think, do we know how to talk to high school kids? Do we know how to say words to them? Because since Travis Hunter, it's been a bunch of other like versions of that same story, not to that level, but Travis Hunter, okay, can't get him. And I'm going to pull him right off the roster because his dad's a Deion Sanders fan. He says he wants to grow up and be just like Deion Sanders. Well, he had the right thing, like go to Florida State. That's step one. Or how about I bring the Deion Sanders to you?
Yep.
Come play for him. Those are the kind of things that would happen. So I'm here's the thing. Out of sheer boredom with the Cowboys and
it would be a show, man.
Yeah, and the absolute ridiculous time is a flat circle hamster wheel of doom that they're on, I am 1 billion% for it. Our old friend David Hellman said this last night. Like, look, if you're going to do this, let's not just talk about it. Be about it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Say it with your chest.
If you're just going to do it, do I think the Dallas football Cowboys of the Metroplex of Texas of planet Earth can do this? No, I don't think they will. They are risk adverse. And Jerry has been able to paint this wildcatter like myth about him for so long. But it's just flat out
reality's catching up to him, man.
Not reality.